I come to you with biblical tales of woe. Biblical tales of a club that you might not have heard of that is doing one of the most incredible things of any club in the world of football. And we are going to document exactly how they've managed to accomplish that. But you would have been aware of this already. I mean, I'm making you aware of it now. You would have been aware of this already if you kept in touch with the streams. Yes, those pesky little live streams. We do a lot on there. But I do keep up with I do keep up with what's going on in the qualifying of Conference League, Europa League, Champions League. We check that stuff out while we're on stream. We're looking at this, we're looking at that. And plus, it's me live. And at best, what you're getting here is like me on tape delay. I know it feels like I'm in your living room. It feels like I'm sitting next to you on the couch. How you doing? But I'm not actually live. Although, hi, Will. I am actually live with you, Will. So hope you're doing well. And for all of the people that aren't named Will, sucks. Guess this is tape delay for you. But this club is stunning for basically all of the reasons. The club's name itself is Noah, FC Noah. Okay, and it was founded in 2017. It was founded in 2017. I had to check my own mental notes. I checked the sources on that one. So it's less than 10 years old. But to me, that is the least remarkable thing about whatever Noah has actually managed to accomplish by getting to the Conference League group stage, by getting to a point where all of a sudden they're drawn against Chelsea, right? Because Noah is in Armenia. And to call Armenia a footballing backwater would be a vast understatement. Not only does Armenia produce virtually no footballing talent, Henrik Mkhitaryan being a massive glaring exception, its league is in complete disarray, right? Its league has been a mess for a while. And when I say mess, I mean, like a combination of changing number of teams in the league, I think, and also just an inability to put together teams that can compete on the international stage in any way. I mean, there's not, even when you go to, and I know if you're Armenian or Azeri, you're probably upset with this comparison, but it is in the same region. If you go to the League of Azerbaijan, you still have a club like Karabag that is able to make it to European group stages, that is a name that is familiar to football fans around the world, and that is a club that develops players for the Azerbaijan national team in a way that the Azerbaijan national team is at least comfortable competing on those types of big stages. Georgia is a good example of a league that hasn't been able to put together the clubs, but obviously they have started to invest in academies and export a serious amount of talent. We have seen that in the way that Georgia's national team has leveled up over the last 10 to 15 years. Well, Armenia is doing neither of those things. It does not have these premier clubs that go into Europe and make a huge impact. It does not have a national team, right, in like an academy system that's exporting this talent to be able to develop its quality. Out of those three countries, Armenia is the worst when it comes to football. They just have been. And if you're looking at the impact that Armenian clubs have made in Europe, they're really only ahead of the micronations like Gibraltar, like San Marino, right? Those micronations that have leagues in their countries. I mean, sometimes, honestly, even Gibraltar had multiple teams win European ties this year. Armenia, it feels like most years before this year wouldn't have been able to say that they actually managed to do that. Armenian teams were the types of teams that got fed into the first round of Champions League, Europa League, Conference League qualifiers, and they would get control-alt-deleted by whoever they were playing, right? They'd go onto the field against, a team from Wales or a team from Bosnia and Herzegovina. And it would be maybe a tight match, and then they'd kind of get ushered out. But Noah has changed the game, okay? And the fact that they were founded in 2017 almost has nothing to do with it because they were taken over by an owner last year named Vargas Vardanyan. Now, Vargas Vardanyan is a braggadocious, big spending, big talking, big money guy. And he immediately took over Noah and decided that not only the name changed, the badge changed, all of this stuff has changed. Noah's played in a couple of different cities. They're like a nomadic club. According to the BBC, a local reporter in Armenia said that before they went on this European run, they really didn't have a lot of fans at all. because they were a nomadic club that had moved around to different stadiums. And this was, in many ways, what you would consider, more so than any club that you run into in MLS, like a plastic club. Not even necessarily in a way that sounds derogatory. It's just a club that, you know, it's like brand new. It still has a friggin' wrapping paper on it, right? You haven't taken the plastic off of the outside of the damn thing, and it's here. And they enter into Europe for the first time ever this year. And out of 50 teams that entered the first round of qualifying Conference League, Noah was the only one to even make it to the playoff. You thought I was going to say group stage. They were the only one to make it to the playoff. That's how bad all of the teams that typically enter into the qualifying section of these European tournaments are. If you go in round one, you're going in round one, you're from a league that's so bad that you're never supposed to make it to the group stage, right? When those types of teams make it to the group stage, you end up with people making TikToks and videos like this and Instagram reels. But how ridiculous it is that club managed to make it there. But nobody even knew how to react to Noah because it was the first time that even people like me were hearing this club's name, right? And my ball knowledge has significant gaps, right? If you start taking me through the history of the game and that sort of stuff. But one place where my ball knowledge is elite is knowledge of clubs that are pretty good in their domestic leagues. Because I've played 11,000 hours of Football Manager. I recognize every club name and every club badge of clubs that compete in Europe regularly at any level. I've probably managed against most of them, and I had never heard of Noah before. I didn't even know where they'd come from. The name probably should have been a clue, because according to me reading about Noah, right, apparently the club's name comes from the fact that, you know, Noah's Ark allegedly landed on a mountain right next to Yerevan, which is in Armenia. The mountain is in Turkey. And of course, this is, I'm sure that's a super amenable topic for a lot of people. But basically, if you didn't know, as a history major, Armenia was the first political state to adopt Christianity as its official religion in the 4th century. Noah's Ark, the whole thing kind of ties together, and Noah becomes this symbol of Armenian pride. And the guy, one of the players, I say the guy, he's the captain, Havhanis Hambardziumyan, the BBC article has him quoted. He said, being a part of Noah's project is something special for all of us. We are not playing football. We are playing for our nation, our pride, our homeland, and our tricolor flag, striving to elevate the name of Noah in the world of football. Noah has very quickly become, because they're the only Armenian club that's been able to pull this sort of thing off, they've become a symbol of Armenian pride in football altogether to begin with. And this has led to them accumulating a lot of fans as well. Their run was absurd. First 2 rounds, they played a team from North Macedonia and then a team from Malta. And I'm breezing through that because I'm like, that's a pretty easy draw for the first 2 rounds of Conference League qualifying. That being said, you would definitely expect a team from the Armenian League to lose to a team from the North Macedonian League if this was a normal year. But it clearly was not going to be a normal year. Then they got drawn against AEK Athens in the 3rd qualifying round. Of course, AEK Athens is an infinitely larger club than Noah is. Like, it's impossible to express how much larger AEK Athens is than Noah. Noah then managed to win 3-1 at home and survive 1-0 in Athens to advance, again, as the only first-round team to make it all the way to the playoff round, at which point they played Slovakian side Ružomberok, which is not the hardest draw that they could have gotten. And once again in Armenia, they pulled out a huge win. They won 3-0 against Ružomberok. 3-0. And then they nearly blew it because in Slovakia, they went down 3-0 right after getting a second yellow card and a man sent off before Matthias Ayas scored in the 88th minute to realize Vargas Vardanian's vision when he bought the club, which was preposterously within a year to make it to a European group stage as an Armenian team. And they did that. And then they took it a step further because in their first Conference League game, they beat Mlada Boleslav 2-0 in Armenia. At this point, in breaking down this story, I have decided to assess wherever they happen to be playing in Armenia, which is in like the national stadium. Sorry, the Republican Stadium in Yerevan. I do have the technology to find this stuff out. The Republican Stadium in Yerevan, that is equivalent to basically playing in Bolivia. If you've ever watched the Bolivian national team play at sea level, they suck. But the moment Bolivia plays at home, they're virtually unbeatable because of the massive elevation advantage that they have. They're used to it. Their opponents are not. Their opponents are throwing up by the 60th minute, and Bolivia is able to dominate. Clearly, something equivalent is happening here when it comes to Noah, because the way they play at home is absolutely outrageous. Now, they went on the road against Rapid Vienna, like third best team in Austria, and they lost 1-0, which is a very respectable result. Today was their shining achievement, right? They got to play at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. Chelsea's obviously not taking this competition too seriously, at least in the group stage. But, they rested guys like Cole Palmer. They aren't even registered for the group stage, which makes complete sense. And Chelsea beat Noah 8-0. If you happen to miss it, Chelsea absolutely blew these poor guys out. But that's because it was at Stamford Bridge. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to get like a reverse of this. Noah's not going to get to host Chelsea. Chelsea isn't going to have to go all the way to Yerevan on the east coast of the Black Sea and try and figure out what the hell's going on here. But there is voodoo going on in Armenia. That much I know. That much I can confirm. Because as somebody that follows this stuff religiously, like the early qualifying rounds and stuff, teams from Armenia don't do this. And there's no logical explanation for why a team for Armenia would be able to do this. The guy bought the club. They basically rebuilt the entire league. Look at the league standings. They're in 4th. Granted, they have 3 matches in hand on the teams that are in front of them, but even if they win all 3 of those matches, they're not like, this is not the runaway best team in the league. They've got 7 wins from 10. They've lost 2 of their first 10 league matches. It looks like we're in for a dogfight at the top of the Armenian league, which makes no sense because none of these teams are within, not even spitting distance, they're not even within 100 miles of where Noah's at. 1-0 at Rapid Vienna, right? Winning at home against Mlada Boleslav from a very respectable Czech league, right? And currently, if you look at the Conference League standings, despite this 8-0 loss, Noah is on 3 points from 3 matches, which is the type of pace that could potentially get them into the knockouts in their first ever European season. It's something wild. I have no idea what's going to happen with it. Noah's got 3 more matches to go. If they can get that up to 6 points, it is possible they would be able to slip into the knockouts and make some noise. I'm loving the way these league stages are developing, and I cannot stress enough how much I love the Conference League for giving teams that can get hot, for giving teams that can create a giant home field advantage, for giving teams that literally didn't exist basically until this year the chance to do something cool like this. I don't know. This is awesome. Go Noah. Even though they lost 8-0, it's like still all in front of them.